Welcome back, everybody, to Avenue Obscura, where we explore the unique, the strange, and the obscure. And today I have a very, very special guest. I have Michellehalloween. So, hi, Michelle. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. It's a wonderful hot day in Southern California.
I know it's definitely rough out there right now, but
It sucks.
um, Michelle is really one of my favorite Instagram plus YouTube creepy personalities, right? So
Oh
when
my
I
God.
So kind of funny story, when I first started this, I started recording stuff a little bit at the beginning of the year. I didn't really put anything out until, well, I think the very beginning of April. But I started up the Instagram a little bit, started the YouTube channel, and you were one of the first pages on Instagram first that I found. And I started following you, I started following, just a bunch of other people. And I just loved your content. It was really just happy to have you.
Oh my God. I'm so flattered. I'm so flattered. I didn't realize you just got started. You were out there. I felt like I could have swore I found you or we found each other. It had something to do with Rad Coffee. I think that was one of the first posts that you had made.
Yeah, that was probably.
And yeah, like, how did you, here's me going into interview mode. Like, were you at the IE Punk Flea? I'm just trying to put together the timeline. Were you at the IE Punk Flea?
No, I wasn't. I really did want to go, but I didn't make it out due to just normal life circumstances. But
Yeah.
really, the first event that I covered that I filmed was Haunt X back in February before lockdown. Now,
Yes.
I didn't get anything out until I started recording a lot of things throughout February and March. I knew I was going to do something with this channel starting late last year. Always have been a horror, Halloween, spooky, creepy fan. So I just thought to myself one day, it's just got to go out and do it and just have fun with it, And so I started recording things, and then I thought, and I just kept and then kind of the craziness with lockdowns happened and stuff. So I just kind of started putting stuff off a little bit. And then I believe my first video was around April, very beginning of April.
Okay.
That was on X, but I had already been recording a lot of things going on too. So, and like I said, I had started to kind of follow people and find people just through different avenues.
Gotcha.
So.
That's where the name Avenue Obscura. And you mentioned that. It's so funny that you're just like, I've always loved it. I just wanted to put myself out there and, just start putting my content out there. I was seriously, not even a year ago. It'll be like a year ago this week, actually.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, and then I'm really glad and I'm honored, just thinking about where I was last year, where I am now, and then watching what you're doing and going, oh yeah, you're gonna go far. Like, you're gonna get this. And in fact, it's kind of a relief because last year, when everything was going on, when things were still happening, I could recall it gets exhausting. Like, you really aren't working when you're doing this, but it does get tiring because you're out. Man, I think last year during the spooky season, after Midsummer Scream kind of settled down just a little bit. It was a lot of planning in August, except for that Three Teeth concert, and there was a few events. But as soon as September hit, I was at the haunts, whether it was for recreation or coverage, from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all the way to Sunday. And so we would try to go, okay, let's plan these events. I was at everything I can get to. I was there. There was times I was like, I want a clone. And so you're kind of like a godsend, but ew, did I say that? Ungodsend. But it's pretty interesting because it does get tiring. And then you're like, all right. So then after the spooky season, I told my husband, I'm like, don't think that you're going to get some sleep. We may not have things on Thursdays and Fridays, but there was a witch event on, it was La Ofrenda. It was was that what she called it? Another witches brew event 2 days after Halloween. So there was an event. And then there was the last few nights of the haunts. And then there was another spooky witches brew event, the Raven Society. And then Christmas comes, and it was like, all right, you know what? They're always infiltrating Halloween, Christmas folks, with the decorations. And I'll tell you about at home here in a little bit. And the Christmas stuff was out, and I'm like, they're infiltrating us. Let's let Michellehalloween infiltrate all the Christmas events.
Nice.
Lo and behold, last Christmas was the spookiest fucking Christmas I've ever been, you know, or I've ever had. We were so exhausted. I forgot to buy gifts. There was shit showing up after Christmas.
Yep.
The kids didn't care. They were like, whatever, because we were so busy and we were having so much fun covering events, you know, with the Midsummer Scream deal, the Krampus ball, the there was something called Bitchcraft. There's always something spooky to do, and that's what I love about Southern California. We have so much to do, and we're such a huge community.
Yeah.
It's kind of faltering a little bit, but I think that those of us who just stay strong and positive and, well, not positive, but vigilant. Like, we can be positive, but we have to not take any shit either.
Right.
But I don't know about you, but this, even at the beginning of 2020, we were busy. We had the IA Punk Fleet, the Endless Night Vampire Ball. We had, I had a Witches Brew event. There's so much going on. And here you are in quarantine and you're thinking, well, what content can I create? What am I going to be able to do? And I'm thinking, shit, I get a break. I can actually start writing, but I got busier, you know, because like you, I was interested in all these other personalities. And when you get, you know, like higher scale personalities and celebrities, they're not doing anything right now. They're trying to, you know, just write and create. It was so easy to just nab people like, hey, would you do an interview with me? I DM'd on Instagram David Howard Thornton, and he was like, I was expecting nothing. And he replied like 16 hours later. So keep doing what you're doing, because I'm, you know, I wouldn't say that I'm overwhelmed. It's a good kind of overwhelmed. I love what's going on. So keep doing what you're doing. Don't let COVID stop you, because it's not stopping a lot of us.
And and that's a good point. And it's really funny because I remember when I was first conceptualizing this late last year, and then getting kind of ramping up towards January. I didn't do much in January. And I thought, okay, I've heard about HonX. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go there. That's going to be my first. And then, you know, I was thinking like, oh man, and then you're thinking getting towards the Halloween season, there's going to be so many things to go check out. And then all this craziness happened. And so I was like, okay, so this is going to be interesting. I don't really know how this channel is going to go because I may not have anything. But two things really ended up happening. Like you said, there's really still a lot of stuff out there, which is good. I mean, as long as they're doing the whole social distancing and mask wearing, there's a lot of events that still can go on. Or maybe not big events, but at least smaller locations to go to. But
exactly.
One thing that it kind of helped is it kind of helped me get a little bit more creative in my thought process, instead of just saying, oh, I'm just going to go to this event and then this event and then this event. And then that's easy, right? I mean, it's good, but it's easy. But it's made me had to brainstorm a lot more things that I thought I wasn't going to have to in this first sort of 6 months to a year of content. So yeah, I have a big book with stuff written out to do, and that kind of stuff will be coming out, and hopefully. And one thing I was, you know, really looking forward, which is why this is really great, is I was really looking forward to networking with a lot of the community. So then obviously a lot of that sort of dropped off as events started getting canceled. So I haven't had much of a chance to network yet. You're one of the first people I've gotten to network with. But now that you really sort of opened my eyes and made me think, when you said that, you're like, well, a lot of these people really don't have much going on right now. And I was thinking, yeah, that's true. I should just start messaging some people and seeing if they can.
You should.
And I mean, with this kind of, luckily we can do these Zoom style interviews. I noticed when I watched your other videos, obviously they were months ago, and you had more like in-person videos.
Yeah.
Good, which I'm looking forward to getting back to. But I think maybe when you're getting especially bigger names, this kind of video might be good because they can just stay at home. They don't have to come and meet you anywhere and everything. So.
And they're just like, hey, cool. And it's really funny too. Like, I had Cherokee Creek, the directors of Cherokee Creek, and the writer Billy Blair and Todd Jenkins. Sorry, Todd. every time I think about Todd, I think about the scene where it's his penis, and he's actually that's his penis. Anyways, horror movies and sex. So it's just interesting because just a simple DM. And they responded. And it's funny too. There's another one. I was actually really shocked to shit when I interviewed, I had asked Zach Neal from the creator, owner, proprietor of the Beetle House. And I haven't put that video together yet because we're still trying to make time together. Emailing him. And he's like, here's my phone number. I have Zach Neal's phone number. I'm giving away all these secrets, but and it's funny too how they're like, just here's the phone number. What's your address? And I'm like, is this safe? Yeah, of course it's safe. You know, I wouldn't mind if so-and-so sent something to my house or showed up. You know, it wouldn't be a big deal. But it's really interesting because they are doing, a lot of them too, or have been where we are. You got to start somewhere, which brings up one of the last few events that I went to before COVID was at Gorilla Mall for Shockwaves podcast. And, you know, the whole crew was there doing their Shockwaves thing. And I ended up talking to Ryan Turek. And if you know Mystic Museum and you know the Bearded Lady, whatever, Ryan is a regular there. So I'm starstruck and I'm sitting here, you know, oh yeah, I get really starstruck still. And so I'm being all creepy and my husband's like, you got to get over this, you know, like, just go say something. And, you know, I started talking to him and started talking to Rebecca and they were both like, and Rebecca's a film professor at USC. Ryan works for Blumhouse and is a producer for the new Halloween movies. So I'm thinking, what the hell do they want to talk to me? I'm nobody, you know, I'm just a podcast blogger or whatever the fuck I am. And they were like, no, Rebecca said, we all started off doing horror blogs. That's how we got started in this, you know? And I'm going, all right, there's so much inspiration out there where the people that you're like inspired by are actually willing to talk to you, especially in this community, because I don't know if it's the weirdo aspect or just we're all a bunch of outcasts, but if you've noticed, or you'll start to notice when you start talking to folks, everyone's so goddamn friendly. I cannot recall a snob. I'm trying to think about snob. Okay, there have been snobs where they're just like, you cannot speak to me. And of course, you also have to realize that not everyone's going to be okay with you. And I'm okay with that. But I haven't had any issues where people aren't willing to talk to you and to inspire you and to say, hey, look, this is what I'm doing. How did you get to where you are? And the thing that you have to remember, there's time, and we have so much of that right now. Harvey Guillen was saying, you know, everything about what we do in the shadows just fell into place for 2020. They released the show at a proper time when we were all like devastated over COVID. That show is what I go to when I'm feeling down in the dumps, and I'll watch it over again because it's so fucking funny. There's no way you can't laugh. And Harvey, same thing. He's like, he's confounded on his rising fame status. And he's like, just a year ago, or a couple of years ago, he was just acting. Same thing with David Howard Thornton. He couldn't believe, you know, how much rejection he got. And now he's fucking Art the Clown, you know, and whether you hate it or, and you hate him or you hate the movie or you love the movie, you can't deny that Art the Clown isn't badass and it has a freaking legacy in the horror genre, you know, like the underground, you know. So it's just really interesting. It's about anyways, the Southern California horror community is epic. I've never had, I was so afraid to talk to even the producers of Midsummer Scream. It was a task that was assigned to me by CreepyKingdom. And James was like, I need you to take pictures and talk to David, Claire, and Rick at the Krampus thing back in December. And I'm like, it's Midsummer Scream producers, you know? Friendly, very fucking friendly people. So everyone in the community, most people are super, super receptive and will talk to you because they appreciate it, you know, and they appreciate the recognition. They're just one of us.
Exactly.
So you got this.
Yeah. And that's what I was sort of like, you know, looking forward to. I was like, yeah, you know, give them a little bit of spotlight on them. And then I get to spotlight things that I love that are really cool, that are really fun. And that's a win-win, you know. Tell me a little bit about too. So I know obviously you have your YouTube channel, and I've seen your interviews and you're kind of like podcast style. But you also, I noticed that you said you do some writing. Now, do you write for CreepyKingdom? Because I've looked at the CreepyKingdom website and I know they have like videos as well as like blogs. So do you write
so much? I do. I actually, it's funny you mentioned that. I actually had to say no for the first time. I cannot write a movie review for you this week because the Midsummer Scream stuff's going on. But I do the first, and I'll actually send you a link of the ones that I have written for them. I've done movie reviews. When we were going to events, I was doing social media coverage for CreepyKingdom. I would go to events with James. But yeah, I do movie reviews for them. That's the gist of what I do on the backside. Sometimes I forget to post that. I'm sorry. But yeah, if you go to Creepy Kingdom, I don't think they have it categorized by who wrote what, but
Yeah.
I'll send you the ones that I have written.
Okay.
And they'll say like by Michellehalloween and whatnot. But I just did, it's funny you mentioned that. I just did a few Shutter films for them over the past few weeks. And they're all, it's pretty, I'm a Pisces and I love water. They're all water films, like water horror, the beach, the pool, and Lake of Death I just did. I don't think those are posted yet, but we have one more to go. And then I have Comic-Con stuff that I covered over the weekend. But yeah, I do write for them too. My goal, you know, it's again, funny that you mentioned this. It's kind of a connection here. You're reading into stuff. I was talking to my therapist yesterday and I was telling him like, I haven't been able to write much personally on my own blog because I'm trying to revamp the Michellehalloween show, trying to make it a little more fun, not just something that you can listen to in the car, but something that's visually more interesting. So, and it's going to be funny, typical Michellehalloween shit, but with some added, you know, flair to it, I'll say. So I have things that I do want to write for my blog because ultimately my biggest goal is one day to write a damn novel. But it's funny how every time I want to go sit down and write something, I end up writing about something that has to do with the genre, Halloween. You know, with the current climate of our country right now, I think one of the things that my spirit guides have decided to tell me was, here's what you need to do right now. What you need to do is use your platform and start speaking about the injustices that are going on in the country right now. And then add that into your horror content, your Halloween content. And then boom, next thing I fucking know, and all this despair and sadness and anger that I'm feeling, and I'm ready to just burn it all down and give up, you know, I had to get the interview with Harvey, which then led to me finally getting to speak with David Markman from CreepyKingdom, or sorry, not CreepyKingdom, Midsummer Scream. And it was a dream of mine last year when I was at Midsummer Scream. It was the best year. I've been to all but one Midsummer Scream since they began. Last year, I left the convention thinking, I want to be a part of this. I don't care what capacity I am, if it's official press, or I get to moderate a panel, or I'm on a panel, I'll get there. So I thought I'll have the whole year to kind of capture their attention. But then, you know, the whole George Floyd murder happened. And after that Witches Brew event, and I'm talking to David Markland, look what happened on Monday. It was a dream fucking come true, you know, and it's for a purpose or a topic that is more meaningful than anything I could have come up with. And it's sad that it took this fucking global pandemic and, you know, the country reverting back to the 50s as far as, you know, civil rights go to make it happen. But my dream came true. And I'm like, that just goes to show I'm a chaos witch. I flourish in chaos. And it's true. I really do. So I don't like it and I don't want it. But at the same time, I'm like, I just manifested a goal. So I forgot what I was talking about, but it was just, you let these things happen. So my therapist was like, Michelle, it's funny that you bring up the writing deal because a lot of people aren't reading anymore. They like to look at videos and they like listening to podcasts and audiobooks because it's quick, it's easy, and you can do that, you know, while you can't read a book while you're making dinner or driving, so you listen. So I'm thinking, okay, well, of course I'm not going to give up writing. I still intend to put out a bunch of Halloween poetry here in the next few weeks, or actually not until September. But as far as a novel goes, I'll get to it. Because right now, all I care about is making sure that I'm uplifting and inspiring folks and just sharing my love for Halloween and horror. So it's just funny how life just works out for you.
Yeah.
You know, when you really want something.
Yeah. And that's such a interesting point, that you can take negatives that are going on right now and mash them up with your passion. And
yeah, it's weird.
You know what I mean? Like, you have this platform that you can, you know, you can spread the positivity, you can spread the message, and yet it's still a part of your wheelhouse, right? It's
exactly.
Still of, you know, so you're not going off onto a tangent, off onto something else that you normally wouldn't do. You're incorporating it into who you are. That's really awesome.
Exactly. So when you see the show, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, go, no, finish up.
When you see the show in the next few weeks, I'm hoping to start putting videos back out there the beginning of September. Yeah. I have some incredible folks again that are, you know, people in the community that I love and admire. And the whole point of the new revamped Michellehalloween show is I do need to be more inclusive. I look back at like all the guests that I have, all of my friends, all of, you know, and some of them are new friends. Like I'm friends with David Howard Thornton, but it was important that I do use the platform and privilege that I have to start being more inclusive. So it's going to be really exciting because I keep coming up with all these ideas, not just to write about, but just to share on the show. Oh my God, I came up with one today and I'm like, nobody's talking about this dude, and he made one of the best werewolf series in cinematic history. So it's going to be really interesting, the topics that we come up, and we're going to dive deeper into giving too much away, but I trust you and the audience. But it's going to be badass, and it's going to be more fun, and it's going to be more inclusive. And then I'm going to highlight, again, more people out there that deserve some recognition. I don't have the biggest following, but I have a quality, you know what I mean? I have a good quality of followers and at some pretty impressive people. So I want to make sure that they're all seeing what I'm seeing and using it. And it all trickles down. You know, it's important to just make sure you're not in competition with anyone. You want to make sure that you don't think you're better than anyone. And I really hope that no one thinks that, but it's just going to be so much fun. I can't wait. I can't wait to share everything.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And that's a great point. Like, I mean, you know, I think as a community, we can all support each other, and it's not really a competition thing. It's not like, well, you know, you're doing this, so I can't do that, or
yeah.
You know, we all have our own spin and take to things, right? That's what makes us
exactly.
So even if you did something and I do something, they're going to be different.
Exactly.
And, so speaking of that, and that's a good segue, because I wanted to let you or to have you talk about the panel that you were on Monday, and just kind of tell people about it and what it was about. And then also you said you're doing another one on Saturday, right?
Yes. It's insane.
So talk about the one you did, and then give us a preview of Saturday.
So both are awesome. So the panel that I did on Monday was called Black Halloween, and it's Midsummer Scream's goal to make sure that they are more inclusive. You know, when I was speaking with David on, you know, ideas and, you know, kind of just discussing how to make Midsummer Scream more inclusive, which in my opinion, and I may get a lot of shit for this, it is inclusive. I could also be biased because when I was walking around the convention, I don't pay attention to demographics because all I see is there's 30,000 weirdos here with me. I feel at home. I'm flocking around like a happy little deer, you know? So when we were talking about it, we were just kind of shooting the shit about what ideas. I'm thinking, okay, we're setting something up for next year. Next thing I know, David texted me saying, you know what? I kind of want you on this panel. I have an idea for this panel. I'm like, okay. So then he connected me up with RJ, and we had a meet and greet right after I was done camping. And RJ is the founder of Creative Quest, which I didn't know about. So, and to kind of put it in my perspective, Creative Quest is kind of like the ACLU of themed entertainment, where they'll go out and they'll go to themed or, you know, entertainment companies all over the country. I know RJ's based in Orlando, but they'll go anywhere. Obviously they're on, you know, visiting Southern California at some point and talking with us, and they go and they make sure that there's inclusion. They just do a lot of workshops and just general conversation on how you can be more inclusive and break down systemic racism in themed entertainment. So it's pretty badass. I was looking through RJ's work, and it's incredible. So to be put on that panel with him was, you know, like astounding, because I'm thinking, to be honest, I was terrified, and I was really questioning, am I Black enough for this? Am I good enough for this? I just started, you know, and that just goes back to the shit that I had to put up with. But it's, am I going to be good enough for this because I just got started? You know, to me, a year ago this week was yesterday, you know, and I'm like, do I have enough experience? So then I find out the other panelists are talking about fangirl, Willie May. And I'm like, oh my God, he's huge, you know? It's like the Black Ryan Turek in a way. And hearing his perspective and his experiences was very enlightening, because it's the same thing that I've always wondered. Am I the trophy Black girl? Am I the one that makes white people feel more comfortable because I am light skinned and I don't have, you know, what they consider a Black way of speaking? And then you have Sky, and, you know, as a scare actress, I actually did a whole series back in February called African American Goth History X on my blog that highlighted Black goth folks. I wanted to do it in honor of Black History Month. and just to give the world or whoever was reading a perspective on the fact that you can be Black and weird at the same fucking time, which is not something that I knew I could do up until like the last 5 years. So I wanted to put that out there. So hearing her perspective reminded me of one of the gals that I interviewed for that series that I did. And it's just incredible just to be included with those folks for Midsummer Scream, for Midsummer Scream. Whoa, blew my mind. So what we talked about was just different perspectives on our experiences with themed entertainment. And how do we see the future? What do we want to see in the future? And especially in the Halloween community and the horror community. There's a lot of Black folks, not a lot, but in my experiences, Black folks are like, I'm not fucking with that spooky shit, for whatever reasons. And I think that some of that is they like it because Black folks go to horror conventions, Black folks go to haunts, Black folks go to watch horror movies. My dad, was the one who introduced me to a couple of the best ones out there. And I'm thinking, well, this is us just sharing our experience and basically saying, come find us. We want you. We want you guys to feel the way we feel and put yourself out there. And we want to highlight you. So it was a beginning of many conversations that are yet to come. And hopefully we're going to have planned some good shit for next year. Some good, Black horror stuff. So, again, I'm thinking, okay, great. We did this awesome panel on Monday. Next thing I know, I'm finding out that in addition, because of course, CreepyKingdom has always been in line with Midsummer Scream, as a vendor and, featured press. But Midsummer Scream had invited CreepyKingdom to come in and do a segment on Black is the New Horror. And think about that. So they want us to go ahead. We're going to highlight upcoming movies that are featuring Black actors and Black situations, Black, creations. So we're doing, we're going to discuss Candyman, upcoming film that, I can't wait for that to come out. It's like the one movie. Right? Antebellum and Lovecraft Country, which is amazing to me because, when I first learned of Lovecraft Country was during Trump's fucking campaign. So you read it and you're like, all right, this is really interesting because if you didn't know, I guess I'm giving a little teaser here. H.P. Lovecraft was an interesting person.
I like his stuff, but yeah, he himself has a checkered history, let's just say.
Exactly. So we'll get into that more on Saturday, but it's interesting that what I find genius about Lovecraft Country is it's something H.P. Lovecraft would have been pissed about. But it's beautiful too, because again, H.P. Lovecraft is a founding horror, he's a foundation of horror. So,
yeah, he's
yeah. So it'll be really, it's going to be a good topic.
Yeah. And I think as we go back into history, you see those people that are like, well, your morals might have been questionable, but
your work is phenomenal. And it's one of those things.
Maybe
it
takes the crazy one, right? But I've heard of Lovecraft Country, back, probably a year ago when they were first starting to make it. And I've seen the trailers and it looks great. I think it's coming out in a couple of weeks, right?
Yes, August 16th. I'm stoked. And I'm rereading the book to, make sure I have my shit right. But it's funny, HBO, every time that they do a book adaptation, they do put their own spin on it. So it's like, you kind of, when it comes to HBO, if you haven't read the book, just watch the show first. Because they do put their own spin on. Often it actually works very well. So, but that's what we're talking about on Saturday. And I think it's really awesome that Midsummer Scream is the only that I've seen so far. Again, my vision is Southern California only, but they're the only ones that I've seen making an effort to become more inclusive. And it is that fine line, like, okay, I don't want to be the token, but it's not just me. There's so many of us that are in the SoCal community that have actually reached out because of Midsummer Scream. So I think they're actually doing something awesome. They're actually doing what they said they were going to do. They're putting the work in, they're learning, they're listening. And so I have to give them all the kudos for that. And not just because I'm biased, because I'm a huge fan of the show.
Well, Midsummer Scream was I remember when it first came out. I think 2016 was the first year.
Yes.
That was like a game changer. Like I remember when I first saw that I bought my tickets right away. I was like, man, I'm checking this out. And every year it's gotten better and better and bigger.
Right.
Last year, the line was crazy. I'm like, wow, years before I've just walked right in, but
Right?
I think they're definitely the biggest show out there now, which is
Oh,
crazy.
hell yeah.
So young, right? They haven't been around. So I'm not surprised that they're ahead of the curve on
Yeah.
all things, and I'm really excited. It was such a bummer when I heard that they were gonna not be around. Obviously, it was for the best, but
Yeah,
it
but it
was a
still
bummer.
hurts.
Yeah, because that's always one of those things where it's one of the highlights of the year. Um, but yeah, I think they kind of lead the way in innovation.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
excited to
Midsummer
see what they
Scream's
do.
like, oh, I can't wait. I don't have any things to spill, but it's pretty cool because I always base the Halloween season, the last 5 years anyways, on Midsummer Scream weekend. So when I didn't go the one year, I think, yeah, I skipped 2018 because it was either get my hair done or spend money at the show. And I'm like, fuck, I want to get my hair done. I've never done that before. So it was a really hard choice. And I had to like shut social media off. I was all pissed and depressed, but I loved my hair. Look good. So, I'm glad I don't have those issues anymore, but it's not really an issue. But it's always that time of year when I'm like, all right, it's back to school for everyone else. I'm like, fuck back to school. It's time for Halloween. That's when we bust out. As soon as we get home from Midsummer Scream, I'm unpacking my shit, even though I'm exhausted.
Yeah, that's
But when it got canceled this year, it was like, I knew I was expecting it. And I think I put in my description, it still felt like a punch in the tit because that's when Halloween season begins for me. And I'm like, fuck it. If there's no Midsummer Scream, I'm not counting. I put it in my head. There's not going to be Knott's. There's not going to be Disney's deal. There's not going to be Halloween Horror Nights. There's not going to be haunts, period. I didn't want to put that energy out there, but for me, I was like, if they're not doing it, I'm not doing shit. So,
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, that was the first. That was like kind of the first blow. I remember back in very late March, they started selling. They were going to start selling tickets. And for a while, they had a thing on their website talking about, we're still planning to go ahead. We're still planning to go ahead. And my wife and I were thinking like, oh, should we buy our tickets? Because we usually take like my brother will come and his wife. Oh. And I told her this is all the things. And I'm like, let's hold off. I don't know. I have this bad feeling. And then, a week or two later, and I was like, oh man.
And it's rough.
News last week about Universal and Disneyland and not that they have huge events, but they had that Oogie Boogie Bash. I have never been to that, but Queen Mary is there. So I guess like you said, you almost don't want to jinx it, but at the same time, I'm sort of coming to the realization of this year is probably going to be very few things.
Yeah, and that's okay because it's totally okay because in my perspective, especially right now, if you look back on what we were doing a year ago, do you know how fucking gross we are as human beings? I'm thinking like, even when I went to At Home, the other day, the store, I'm like, I don't want to touch anything. Like, do you know how gross human beings are? And I remember during the IE Punk Flea, and we had the IE Punk Flea and we had the Endless Night Vampire Ball, which lasts till 4 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday till a Monday. So I'm thinking, I remember I was exhausted because I was running around the IE Punk Flea. I didn't want to leave. And my husband's like, dude, if you want to go to this fucking vampire ball, we got to go home and get ready. And I'm like, fine, got to go mingle. But I was already feeling kind of shitty. I was already like exhausted. I was feeling fatigued. And sure enough, like 3 days, no, what happened was, I know what happened. We're so gross as human beings. I'm thinking, all right, I was feeling kind of tired. I was just assuming I was drinking and it wasn't doing anything. And that's when I know something's wrong, right? So I just I didn't let it bother me. And I was still smoking cigarettes at the time too. So I'm like, I'm not gonna let it bother me. So my husband took the day off Monday, obviously, because we were gonna be, at the vampire ball all night. So we go to sleep for like a couple hours. His mom calls and she was in a car accident. Yeah. And she's older. So I'm like, fuck. So he ran out there and I'm thinking, oh, we're at the height of the flu season and COVID was just starting to trickle in. Mm-hmm. And I told him, if you fucking touch anything, because I'm already like freaked out. I don't like emergency rooms and I don't like sicknesses and germs anyways. And I'm like, if you fucking can track the flu, I'm going to kill you, because you're going to the emergency room with your mom. I'm like, why did she take an ambulance, But she didn't want to. So he wanted to make sure that she was okay. So he's calling me and he's FaceTiming me like, I don't see you wearing a mask. Why are you sitting inside? He's, I'm not sitting outside. I'm smoking a cigarette. We're yelling at each other. No shit, Avenue Obscura. 24 hours later, this fool starts coughing. And then he looks at me and he goes, I have body aches. And I'm like, oh, you're dead. You're fucking dead. You could die of the fucking flu, right? Day later, I start getting sick. And seriously, so we're both, it was the flu. I don't think it was COVID. I don't know. You know, I didn't go get tested because I still was like, oh, it's the flu. So we're sitting together in bed, we're sick. And he's like, is this kind of nice though? Like we're sick together. And I'm like, fuck you. Like, I can't handle this. So it lasted the whole weekend. I missed Haunt X. I missed the event at the Mystic Museum, the Slashback video opening night, which they still might have my VIP package. Anyways, so I'm thinking, all right, we're just discussing creatures. And I'm thinking, all those people at the IE Punk Flea, there's thousands of people there. It was like an outdoor Midsummer Scream. All those people were out there. And can you just imagine how germs just fly? And then COVID happened. And I'm like, I don't want to be around 30,000 people in any point during 2020. I really don't. Like, as much as I miss all this shit, I don't want to be around all these people. It's just too much. That's why even that event I was telling you about this weekend at Nightmare Toys, that store is bomb. We went during, a month ago? Something like that. It's like the 4th of July weekend. Before the 4th of July, we decided, all right, we got to get out of here. And I gave my husband the choice, like, you got to pick a social distance vacation, like getaway. He picks Vegas. I'm like, how the fuck are you supposed to social distance in Vegas? So he booked this really cool suite off the strip, really nice place. And then we did the extraterrestrial highway. So we encountered maybe 11 people the whole weekend, the whole couple days that we were gone. You just have to be creative. Right. And we stopped at Nightmare Toys, had the whole store to ourselves. And so like, I want to be at that event. I was all excited for it. And I'm like, oh shit, wait a minute, there's still a pandemic. It's also going to be 110 degrees. I'm not going to go. Sorry, Christy, I'll come visit maybe next week or something. Like when I can get the whole store to myself again and I can get, one-on-one with her. So sorry, celebs, Michellehalloween won't be there this weekend. I can't do it.
Panel, so.
And I have my panel.
Yeah, you gotta.
Midsummer Scream. Yeah, so see what happens? You start double booking yourself.
Yeah, Midsummer Scream invites you to anything. You drop everything.
You
else.
Go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one thing you'll have to learn. Yeah, once you start getting out there, just remember, like my husband go, we can't be at two places. And I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah, now's the time where you start bringing down multiple planners with you, right?
Right. So
booking yourself.
I just want people to stay safe. And again, just think about it. There's any crowd of folks, it's just, to me, I get it. It's anxiety for me anyways. I was like that before COVID. I hated going to the grocery store. There's too many fucking people. Yeah. And the aisles are so close together. So it's just me. But when I'm around the freaks, I'm fine.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's what I'm sort of hoping. Couple of the good things that may come out of this whole situation is, number one, we get some better sanitary procedures in now, which is good. That'll be definitely one big good thing that comes out of all this. But number two, really the big events, especially, as great as they are, they've gotten pretty wild over the last few years. And it can be, unless you buy VIP passes and stuff like that, it can be pretty rough to go in and fight the crowds and get into things when you go to the big events. So I'm sort of thinking this year there's really not going to be any big events. And even if there is, kind of like you, I doubt I'll probably go to any. I mean, unless we're like way going down in terms of numbers or something by the time.
Right.
But I mean, right now we're rising, so chances of that are really low. But and most likely they're not going to happen anyways. But maybe I should say that's a good segue into this next question that I wanted to ask you, which is, what are your predictions for this year? So we know that a lot of big events are probably not going to happen. Do you have any predictions, things you think are going to happen this year in 2020 for Halloween?
Nope. I don't think anything's going to happen. I know that, especially for the Halloween season, it's important too, as sad and shitty as it feels not to be able to do our traditional outings, it's for your safety. I want to see, every time I see someone, crying over like the Halloween Horror Nights, my message to you is, guys, you know what? I've had to take years off, for financial reasons, or I just couldn't make it to something. It's going to be there. It's going to be there. And I want to see your face next year so we can get back to touching each other and talking and doing all that. But going forward, I don't think anything's going to happen this year. You know, I'm looking at, somebody asked me, well, what about Christmas? And I'm like, well, think about it this way, especially as older folks who get, you know, I don't know how old you are, but I'm 40 and I've been tired for the last 20 years. So I get really excited, but then I just crash. There's points where I'm like in the middle of something and I'm like, dude, I can't take this. I got to go to sleep. Think of it as just a resting period so you can go hard when we can do these things again. Give yourself, give your mind, give your heart, your body a break.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be sad. It does suck, but also embrace the new shit that's coming out. For example, today I actually thanked the pandemic for me not having to talk to a billion Karens at my son's school schedule pickup. It was so stupid. It was like, they still did the balloons. We were in and out of that shit within, 15 minutes. Yeah. And he got his computer, he got all his shit, right? And I'm thinking years past, I'd have to sit there and go to station. It's like an hour ordeal, and then I have to talk to people I don't want to fucking talk to. Yeah. So there's these, there's positives in it. You have to think positive. Okay, I'm not going to be able to go to these haunts this year. Somebody was telling me she was really upset about horror nights, and I go, you know what? Have you looked at the line of animatronics Spirit is putting out? Whether they open the stores or not, I think they are, because retail hasn't been shut down.
Yeah.
Whether or not they put their stuff out there, all that money that you could have spent on that haunt, you can go buy that animatronic you've been watching or been wanting to buy for the last year or so. And then they come out with even like these phenomenal clowns this year, like, hello. So there's always a positive to it. I think going forward this year for Halloween, the spooky season, it's going to be pretty cool because you're going to have a lot of these virtual events. And I know people are like, fuck, these virtual events are actually a lot of fun. Again, positive side to these virtual events is if you're a drinker, you can get trashed at home on your couch. You can still get dressed up.
You don't have to pay,
and it's cheap.
$12 for
exactly
$15 for one drink.
Exactly. And instead of spending that $15 on that drink, there's virtual bartenders having, things where they teach you, you giving them the money that you would have paid for that drink, you give it to them, so you tip them demo, and they'll tell you what to make from your supply, shit that you have in your house. It's incredible. So I think what's really important this year, what people should focus on is the spooky events that you can do at home. Halloween is a day, it is a celebration, and there's the whole fall season. It's not all about haunts, which again, these are livelihoods and things that we enjoy. I'm not knocking it, but you can enjoy these things at home. Give your spirit, your spooky spirit a rest.
Yeah.
And that way we come back for next year. But as far as like the Christmas goes, because I do, I love Xmas. I like the spooky Christmas shit. Who doesn't want to sit in their house with their blankets with a plate full of cookies watching Christmas shit? Mm-hmm. I want to. So, I think we're going to see a lot of yard displays that are going to be off the fucking chain. I don't know if kids still say that. I got told I'm old and don't say things like that, but the yard displays are going to be badass. I was talking to a gentleman in Michigan. Again, this is the spooky, the communities everywhere, who was putting on a whole display for just his front yard. So you could drive through and see that stuff. So there's going to be a lot of creative things coming out. You just have to stay positive and just go, you know what, this is for the better. I love you guys, but I don't want to be around all you guys right now.
Yeah, it's just
we'll see each other this way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think most any big event's gonna probably be. I'm like you. I think it's all going to be pretty much over this year.
Yeah.
Maybe there's possibility some of these smaller ones, if they can figure out ways to socially distance. Right now, there was this really cool haunt that I went to a couple years ago, and I don't know if it's going to be back anytime. It was called Into the Black. It was in Pomona.
Oh, I remember them.
That seemed like a winning formula actually for something that could be done this year, because you went through that alone. The mandatory thing was you had to go through the haunt by yourself, and you were nowhere near anybody else. So something like that potentially could, still
I could
wear
see
your
that.
mask, still social distancing. I think that's a possibility. But I think what I'm excited for too is some of the innovation. Like, I'm actually looking forward to seeing what people come up with. I've heard of a lot of the virtual stuff like you were talking about. I've heard some people banter around the idea of like drive-through haunts. Almost,
Yes.
I sort of visualize, like, do you remember Lion Country Safari? I'm, I'm
Yes.
I'm 41, by the way, so I got you beat by a year. But I remember this stuff back in Irvine, down in Irvine, and where you basically drove through and you saw the animals, along the side of your car.
Right.
And could there be something like a haunt like that? I don't see why not. You're
Well, I do know of something, but I don't want to say because the plans aren't set in stone yet. But there is one that I will definitely be advertising the fucking shit out of, that, once the details are in place, where it is one of those innovative ways to enjoy the spooky season, where you can socially distance, where you can still eat and experience something spooky, and you get your Halloween fix or your haunt fix. But it's going to be, it's incredible. I can't say who or what yet, but holy shit, there is something that pretty sure it's happening. Very sure it's happening. And then I'm thinking, we didn't talk about the LA Haunted Hayride, which
Right.
is one of those things. I don't recall. I don't think they've canceled anything yet, because with the Haunted Hayride, yeah, they used to just push you into the wagon.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm wondering if they can be the pillars or the example of how to do a social distance, like, ride through haunt, which would be pretty cool. I want to know if pumpkin patches are happening, and if so, like, how is that going to work out? Because again, these are outdoor activities if you just distance people. But my biggest thing is that I'm worried about is the people who are going to fuck it up, like the ones who won't refuse to wear a mask and get the thing shut down. So those are the folks, just stay the fuck away then.
Yeah. That's why you have security at the front. You just
right, get out of here. Yeah, like get out of here.
Mask or leave. Basically.
Yeah.
Keep everybody
and
let everybody enjoy it.
Yeah, let us all enjoy our thing, where if we can't help it, we have to do what we have to do. So I do hope there are some innovative things. I know of one, and then I know of there's going to be a lot of virtual stuff, but I do know of one where you can actually probably go into, but again, details can't be released just yet.
I'll be for the details on that one. Yeah, I remember looking right after the whole Universal thing got canceled. I looked at a couple of the other ones, and I looked at it's nothing there yet. I also looked at the Haunted Hayride, because I remember when they did Midsummer Scream did a thing in May, like a live stream with one of the guys, was one of the head guys over there, and he was saying that as of right now they're still planning to move forward and everything, and but he was kind of hinting at we're looking at innovative ways to potentially do this. And you're right. I mean, the hayride part of that haunt, even though, you can't do that right now because, you're literally like shoulder to shoulder with a bunch of people in that cart. But if they could figure out a way to maybe, like you said, do some kind of a drive-through with that. It's, basically that's what that was. It was a drive-through. Right. You just were piled in a wagon with a bunch of strangers, but at the same time, you were just driving along and watching.
Exactly.
Coffin Creek. I don't know if you've heard of that one in Corona.
Yes. In fact, one of the actors is a buddy of mine, and I tried to get to it last year and I couldn't get to it, and it looked incredible because you're really going through that. But I heard they're not doing it this year.
Oh, they're canceled too, huh?
I think that's canceled, because from what he told me, I don't quote me, and I will find out for sure. But the last time I talked to him, he said it wasn't going to happen. Which is a huge bummer, because I wanted to check that out too, because I heard it's fucking scary.
Yeah.
And on top of it, they only let a few people in at a time, which would have been the perfect opportunity to do it. So, or perfect way to do it. So, but the thing is, are you going to go to those, even, with the social distance requirements or whatnot?
Yeah, if there's ones that, I can be sure that they're going to be safe, and it's going to be something like, I wouldn't go to a big theme park this year, most likely. Like,
right.
I don't think I'm going to take that chance, even with masks and everything. It's just too many people. But for some of these other ones, like perfect example, Coffin Creek, there's this one area, and it's been about 2 or 3 years since I've been, but there was one area where it's on this swampy land in like Corona, and
right.
there's this one like kind of swampy area, and you only go in, like you and your party go through that, and you're walking through it's like nature, right? It's not like a built up thing. So, again, that's something that theoretically could be done. Now, are they going to want to invest a lot of the time and money into it when there's a potentially that they're not going to, they might lose a lot of money on it? Maybe not, but I guess we'll have to see. But yeah,
exactly.
I'll go to any events that I know are going to have good safety measures in.
That make you feel like, all right, cool, I'm not going to question this.
Yeah, I'll consider those.
And I look at who's throwing it. I'm a questioner, and I love to look at, okay, who's this, so I can talk to them. Who do I speak to? I want to go interview you. But it goes, I have to make sure that, it's somebody that I trust. And most of the people in Southern California, I'm pretty trustworthy and naive, as my husband would say. But the one that I was saying that I can't disclose information, I'm very trustworthy, very good creative person. So I wish I could share it. It's so exciting. It's hard for me not to spill the beans.
Yeah.
Well, but I'm excited.
When you get it, when you are, post it, and then.
Oh, trust me, I will. Trust me.
Well, I just want to say thank you so much for doing this with me here today. It's been really, really fun to have you on. You are the first of, I hope, many people that I get to get on here. So.
Of course, you're coming along. You're on that haunted hayride right now.
Yeah, right.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's great to get the good feedback. I've gotten some good feedback from some people, and taking that into consideration, and just always trying to improve my content and make it interesting for maybe even people that aren't really super familiar with the haunt horror Halloween community. And I do other things too. Like, I don't strictly focus on that. I try to include some other stuff as well to make it a little more well-rounded and hopefully attract people that might not normally check out this.
Exactly.
Give it's like a little gateway drug, right? Like,
yes.
Come in with voodoo donuts, and then you get to go.
Then they're like, all right, fine, I'll come to an escape room with you in 2022. Yeah. I get it. Thank you for having me. It's awesome. And again, I'm always happy to chit chat, especially with our little collaboration that we have going on.
Yep, we have that coming out. Everybody look out for that soon on Instagram. We got that coming out hopefully within the next few days, right? And hopefully we can collab again sometime soon. And once things start opening up, we'll hopefully get to see you and a bunch of the community people at these events.
Absolutely.
Why don't you let people know where can they find you online?
Okay, so I'm super easy to find. Michellehalloween on all platforms except for Twitter, which is weird. What am I on Twitter? Michi. I don't even use it, so don't even worry about it. But I'm mostly on Instagram. I'm mostly on Facebook. You can find me at my YouTube channel, especially when it comes out again in September. But please go back and watch all that shit that I did before. Michellehalloween, and then my website, michellehalloween.com.
Yes, and CreepyKingdom.
And don't forget my awesome CreepyKingdom people. Yes. I love you guys. Definitely. And also, don't look at, since we're gonna just keep going, get your RawlOfTheDead magazine.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's for a good cause, especially with issue number 2, and it has a lot of good stuff in there. So, yeah, you can find me at all this stuff. I'm at everything, even on the virtual realm. So I'm everywhere.
Nice. Definitely check out the panel on Saturday for sure. And I know that Midsummer Scream on their channel still has your other panel up too.
Yes, they do.
Go check it out. It's a good cause. It's a really interesting topic. And especially for people, some people that just might not be aware of issues like that. It's kind of like they just never thought of it before. It's really,
exactly.
And it's a really good learning experience too. And you get to actually meet these people who have been involved with these huge events that I didn't even realize,
Rob Zombie's Nightmare. Remember that? The Nightmare?
Sky and Willie were involved in. Like, Sky is a scare actor at a lot of the different parks. And Willie's worked on a bunch of the attractions. And
so incredible.
Really. So check that out. Check out your YouTube channel. I love your podcast styles. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the new stuff that's going to come out, the revamp.
Thank you.
Well,
I
definitely.
hope I make you all proud.
Yeah. Of course, you can always find us, Avenue Obscura, at Avenue Obscura on Instagram. That's our kind of our artsy page where we like to put up a lot of stuff that is just more conceptual and concepts and fun art stuff, as well as announcing videos and stuff like that. And then, of course, our YouTube channel, obviously, that you're watching. Um, so yeah, follow both of us, everybody.
Yes, keep an eye out. Thank you so
Michelle,
much.
thank you so much. I hope maybe we can do this again sometime soon.
Please.
We'll be on lockdown probably for at least another good few months. So have some more conversations, especially when maybe closer to the season as well.
Absolutely.
A lot of stuff that I'm trying to cook up for September, October to do a lot of posting, a lot of videos. So.
Yeah, we're gonna need it. We're gonna need it, and you're really good at it. So keep it coming. Keep it coming. I'm with you.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you everybody for watching, and we'll see you next time.